So we look at the main programs. Illustrator for doing illustrations, graphic creation, charts, pie charts, logos, icons, symbols. Done in Illustrator. Photoshop, editing all the photos, manipulating photography, combining images, merging images. And then when you want to lay out something, meaning you're combining text, images, or graphics. So this program, it's designed to primarily, magazine, newspaper, but who reads a newspaper, who reads magazines anymore? But point is, you have brochures, you have pamphlets, you have programs for events, you have flyers, text heavy posters. I know we did the movie posters in Photoshop because realistically, there aren't that many, there's not that much text that goes on to a poster, a movie poster rather. But for example, the section where it's the small text that would be done in InDesign traditionally on a movie poster, but for the grand thing, it's primarily photo based, right? But you have other type of posters that have, more graphical elements to it, and it's more text heavy. So then that would be done in here. So combining text, or should I say, combining body copy. For example, you can do titles in Photoshop, you can do titles in Illustrator because they're large. When you start getting to paragraphs of information, that's where the other programs fall apart because they're not really designed to handle that much text, right? So let me share my screen. Can y'all see my screen in InDesign?
Yes. I can
Yeah.
see.
So like I said, InDesign is primarily for designing things that require text and images or graphics being combined together. So when you start off, this is the main screen. Obviously, you have the default ones here, but when you go to create new or new file, obviously this one be here. Now, traditionally, we're going to stick with the print and we're going to go with letter. And then we're going to choose inches so we can just see. Now, pages, we're going to do 2 pages. Actually, no, we're going to do 3 pages just for the sake of showing you what it looks like when it's multiple pages. Now, the columns. Columns are, everybody's seen a spreadsheet, yeah? Like Excel, So, and everybody's seen a Word document, right? So think of it that way. You have columns, you have margins. So the columns is what's going to be dividing up the page within, between the margin. So I'm gonna say, for this, I'm gonna do 3 columns, or I'm gonna do 4 columns. I'm gonna leave the margin since it's a standard sheet of paper, and the standard margins on any Word document is 0.5 inches, so ½ inch. Leave that normal. Now the bleed is something unique to printing. For example, when I was printing a large poster for the theater department at Howard, you have to have bleeds because paper moves in the printer, it shifts in the printer. And if there's information, if the information of the image isn't over, it's just going to print white. So you always put at least a 0.25 bleed, and you'll see what that looks like. And then you can slug, you don't worry about the slug. So when you press create, give it a second. So cool. So always in the way. All right, so you have a lot more. You have a lot more tools because it's adding in the element of you're dealing with text and typography, right? Or typographical design. So by default, we have 3 pages: cover page, and then 1 spread, right? Let me zoom out. Cover page, 1 spread.
Sorry
Now,
to cut you off. What like thing is this? Like, I know this is in Photoshop or
InDesign.
InDesign. Okay.
Yeah, InDesign. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So the primary difference is it has pretty much all the same tools as Photoshop. Take that back. It has a majority of the same tools as Photoshop and Illustrator. That meaning you can make a shape. You have the pen tool, you have the type tool, you have the line tool, you have the fill, stroke, all these things here, right? But it adds in all of these, and it also has gradients, but it also adds in paragraph, character, you know, because we're dealing with type, paragraph, characters, pages, links, paragraph style, character styles, and then the document settings and properties. So it doesn't change anything, but add more, essentially just adds tools that are designed to handle a lot of text. So for example, on the pages panel, I'm gonna tear this off so you can see. Now the pages panel is something that allows you to control all the pages, right? So if you look at the bottom, if you click on here, it's going to add a page, right? So you can add pages by simply doing that, but you also have layers. So the layers panel is across all the Adobe, so it doesn't go away. But you also have pages, and you have multiple, obviously this document has multiple pages. So if you think of a 64-page magazine, it's going to be 64 of these pages here. Now, this used to be called the master page, but PC culture changed it to parent page. So you look at the parent or master pages, those pages control what the entire document does. So if you want something on all the pages, for example, like page numbers, then you put those on the master pages so that then it would just automatically be on all the other pages. Make sense? So, you know, the folio, you know, any header settings, anything that goes across multiple pages would be applied, and you can have multiple master page or parent pages. You know, for example, if you have a fashion section or you have an article section, you can have multiple pages that allow you to, multiple master pages that allow you to change based upon what you need for that section of whatever document you're working on. Make sense? So does everybody have this at least? I'll give
Would
you all a
this just
second.
be a print design?
Say one more time.
Would this be a print design or a digital design?
Print and change it to
Okay.
inches. And it's letter, a letter size.
I took a screenshot of it, but it still hasn't fully downloaded. So
Okay. Everybody still see my screen, InDesign?
I still see it.
Huh?
I still see it.
So I'm going to pull up another document that has a finished document on it. Where is, but everybody else has it open? Yes.
Yeah, I just opened a created file more or less, and I just made 4 columns. I wasn't sure what to put for the other settings, so but it looks like your document more or less, I think.
It's the other 7, you mean? It's the other.
I'm sorry. Other settings.
Oh, settings.
Yeah.
Seven, go ahead. All right, cool. Oh, there it is. All right, can everybody see this new screen here? Hold on, actually. Let's see. Now, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Still not the finished one? What the heck? Where is the final? I can front, so pages. That's interesting. It's disappeared. Anyway, so for example, this is an example of how this is a not finished one, but when you look at the pages, you have multiple pages for the one document, right? So it's a combination of images and text. So when you want to talk about layout, window, and also window view, and then turn on high, still blurry. So, you know, it's really designed to handle majority text. This is an example of when you're trying to deal with text and images, but it's primarily for a flyer or poster. So when you're looking at it in this standpoint, you have the pages that are blank, and then you're adding pages to it as you're designing. So, for example, when you look at the cover page, if we only did 2 pages, it would be 1 and 2. So if we only did 2 pages, it would be 1 and 2 like this, not together. Now, there is a way to manipulate the pages to where they all stick together, meaning it's 2 spreads. So, but I wanted to leave it at 3, just so that you can have 1 extra page for a cover. But remember, you're not designing the cover. So if we were to delete page 3 and just have 2 pages here, we can go to allow document pages to shuffle, have that unchecked, and then we can click on this. And then you see how it's being attached to it like so. So now we have 2 pages side by side. You see that?
Yeah.
So I want everybody to delete that 3rd page. And then I want you to go to allow the document pages to shuffle, have that unchecked, and then put it to be where it's 2 pages together side by side. All right, so when you're talking about layout, obviously, you would always start off with a sketch. You wouldn't just jump on here and say, oh, I'm gonna, no. It's the same process as when you're doing a logo. You're planning a photo shoot, you're doing mock-up design concepts, sketch-wise for maybe a t-shirt graphic. Architect sketch on paper first. So same thing goes for magazine or layout. You always want to sketch before you get to the program so that you know what goes where. Because you can see it's a blank page. So you know what images you have, you know what text you have. So you can really lay out this entire document before you even have all the images done. So for example, for the comic assignment, but in this case, it's always good to just know what you want to do first before you start jumping into it. Because, it's easier to hash things out on paper before you just jump to the computer. Because obviously, it's the issue of having too many choices, because you can do anything in here. So you end up not doing anything, right? So, but in this case, we're just doing a tutorial, so don't worry about it. So the difference between a rectangle tool. So the rectangle tool is just that, it's a rectangle, right? Everybody knows a rectangle tool? Yes?
Yeah.
Makes a rectangle. The rectangle frame tool is, or it has, you can also do ellipse or polygon, but same thing here, ellipse, polygon. So the rectangle frame tool or the ellipse frame tool or the polygon frame tool, these tools are unique to here with the InDesign, because it's not technically, yes, you can fill it with the color, you can put a stroke on it, but it's not seen as a shape. It's really a placeholder for a photo or a graphic. So when I say make a rectangle frame tool, drag it out like so. Now, this goes into play when we talk about the bleeds. The reason why I said the bleeds, because the bleeds are, so the red line is the bleeds, yes? The black line is the edge of the page. The purple, pink lines are the margins, and obviously these are the columns, right? So if an image goes to the edge of the black or edge of the page, it needs to be extended and continued to the bleeds. Make sense?
Yeah.
So now, also, text box. So generally speaking, when's the last somebody read a book? Like actual paper, read a book? Yes?
Like 2 days ago.
Good. So most books have you reading across the entire page, right? But most books are not the size of a magazine or piece of paper, correct? They're usually smaller, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when talking about publication, magazine spreads, pamphlets, for example, so on type tool, and you all see this when you're working in Illustrator or Photoshop. When you made a text box, it filled in text for you, correct? Yes. That's called the placeholder text. And in InDesign, it's the same thing. It has the placeholder text. So if you don't even have your text ready to go, you can still lay it out using the placeholder text, right? So does anybody know what the placeholder text actually is? Does anybody ever have interest in looking at what it actually says?
No.
Portuguese.
It's a Latin poem. Repeated.
Filler
And-
text, no?
Say again?
It's called filler text or dummy text.
Yeah, Warren Ipsum. But it actually reads as a Latin poem. So it simulates what body copy may look like when you're copying pasting. So that's what it's made for. Placeholder to hold the place of your real text. For example, in this case, your article. Once you find it, once you copy it over. So now, because we don't, the human eye has trouble tracking a large body of text across a certain amount. That's why books aren't, books are smaller. I mean, they're not as wide as documents. Because, you look at when you're reading typing in a term paper, they have you do double spaced. It's because, again, the human eye has trouble reading a large body of text. Obviously, everybody's eyes are different, right? But to be inclusive of those that have trouble reading, or not to read, trouble reading letters that are close together, you double space it. But in this case, you don't have it tracking across. So yes, you always make the text box the entire width of the page, unless you know it's not, unless you want it to only be, like this, right? But generally speaking, you always make it the entire width, because when you right click on the text box and go to text frame options or Control B, it gives you the text frame options panel. And within this panel, we can then choose number of columns within that panel. So for example, if I went to the 3 columns and turn on preview, it will break up the text into 3 columns. If I want to do 4, we get up in 4, but I'm gonna go with 2 for now. So the human eye has an easier time reading, 4 inches across versus reading 8 inches across. Make sense? So that's why you break it. That's why all newspapers, most magazines, they typically have columns instead of having one large wall of text going across the entire page. And in here, that's how you do it, because it's easier to have one text box than to have multiple text boxes. So you just take one text box and break that one text box up into the different columns that you need. Yes? Understood? Text frame options. Cool. Now, I'm going to use the ellipse tool. I'm going to draw a circle. Now, remember how I said you can add a fill. So I'm going to add a fill to this, just so when we go to preview, and I'm going to lower the tint. I'm going to put the tint at 50%. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Eyedropper tool, sample that color. Actually, I'm going to lower this to be less than 50. Lower this tint to 20%. There we go. So when you press preview or W, you'll still be able to see where we know that this blue tint means image is going to go here eventually. Same thing for here. So now with this, I want to put an image on my text or in the text body. Now, we're going to have to use the text wrap. So window, text wrap, which is here already. And instead of doing this, so you have a few options here. You can have it goes around the bounding box, meaning the square that is the circle, or you can have it contour to the shape of the circle. Make sense? See the difference? Bounding box, contour. Now this one just pushes everything as in one bar going across like that, but we want to contour it to the circle or to the shape. Because if it was a triangle or a polygon, you would want it to contort to the shape of the shape versus the actual bounding box. So how you do that again is you click on whatever it is. This could also be an image or a graphic. And then text wrap, bounding box. Make sense? Any questions about that?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. What do you have your workspace set to? I don't know if I missed.
Workspace set to Essentials Classic.
All right, and how do you get the example text to show up again?
So once you make a text box and you're in it, yes.
Yeah. I'm not in the InDesign right now. Right now I'm looking, but I tried making a text box and nothing showed up when I made a text box.
Yeah, so you have to, yeah,
But,
so make it, yeah, no, I'm saying, yeah. So once you make a text box, you're in the text box, and then now you go to type and then go down to fill with placeholder text.
Okay, type field placeholder text. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Professor, could you show us how to do those lines, like the vertical lines?
You mean these?
Yeah.
So that would have had to be done when you first made the document.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I just got, like, I have a blank document, but like mine only has like a border around it. That's,
Yeah, so you would have to either go back to document setup. Actually, no, you can't do the margin. You can only do bleeding setup. You have to go to so you said you already made the document, yes?
like, I just have a blank document.
2 pages, 4 pages, 3 pages,
Just one.
just 1 page.
So I need to add another. Okay, so I have 2 pages now.
So actually, and next, to be honest, I would just, so you have to go to layout, margin and columns, but at this point, if there's nothing on it, I would just make a new document and do the columns from the setup. Because they're not going to show up on the parent page if you're doing them here.
No, yeah, I do have a parent page.
No, I'm saying, but you would have to change it. It's more work to add them. So it's easy just to make a new document.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So file new document. And then when you go to print, letter, inches, and then columns right here, make sure you choose 4, 3. You see it?
Yeah.
And the number of pages would be 2.
What am I doing for the columns? 4, 3, you said?
It's up to you, 4 or 3.
Okay. Column, and then what's the gutter thing?
Just leave that. Don't touch anything else.
Just leave that. Okay,
Yeah,
so
and
column
then-
3,
And then make sure you put your bleeds at 0.25.
125. Create.
Mhm,
Oh, thank you.
mhm.
And then here I would make it a parent document too.
No. So once you make it, it's automatically on the parent.
Oh, I see. So mine is split up into 2. Like they're on top of each other.
Like, yeah, so then you have to right click on it and go to allow document page to shuffle and drag the page next to each other. Make sense?
Yeah, I'm having trouble dragging it.
Okay, let me get through this and I can go back and.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so yeah, so so does everybody see this text box here? Does everybody see the little red square that appeared, red square with a plus sign inside?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That means that there is more text in the text in this text box than can fit. Obviously, because we had a full text, but then we slapped in a image inside, right? So it pushes the text down. So when you click on this red line, this red square, it's going to load the text onto your cursor, and then you can click and drag it out. I'm gonna drag out just this line here. Now, as you can see, it wasn't that much text, right? But I'm gonna go to the article that I found on chemtrails. I'm gonna just grab this entire. So I'm gonna grab my entire article, copy, paste, copy it, and then I'm going to place it. So now this is my entire article. So my entire article, let me put my pages back. So my entire article is this long, so I'm gonna stretch this out. So this is the article. And again, right click on here, text frame options, I'm gonna do 2 columns. So this is my whole article. So it fits across 2 pages, and obviously now I have more. Now I know where I have space for images, so I can, drag this up, make this shorter, so on and so forth. So when you have that red line, so once I delete this red line reappears. This red square. So click on it and I can drag out a text box. Now, the reason we do it this way, instead of going to deleting it and copy and pasting, is because when we double click on here, to highlight it, these two text boxes, even though they're separate, they're linked. So when I can press Control A and select all the text across all two text boxes, and then edit them. So for example, I can change the font to 20th Century Gothic. You want to put it at 13, leave it at 12. So that allows you to have linked boxes versus if I were just to delete this whole thing and then make a new text box. It's easier to navigate when you know that the text box you're working with are linked together instead of having to go back and manually edit each text box, right? Any questions about that?
Yeah, can you quickly show how you make it 2 columns again?
So right click on it and then go to text frame options or Control B, and then type in, you can do 3, 4, 5, you know, keep going, 10. But yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So now, I'm gonna go to my library, which is where. So also InDesign. InDesign has window. InDesign has its own library. So when you're trying to use your other library, you need to make sure you're on CC library, right? So I'm gonna grab this one. I'm gonna grab this one just as an example. So this is an image I have. It's a PNG, right? Meaning it's cut out around it. So in this case, I want the text to wrap around Chadwick, but I want it to contour to his form. So on the text wrap options, I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to choose contour, but as you can see, it's contouring. It's contouring, or it's the contour is going around the media box because it's an image. So it does the same thing as it would if it was going around the bounding box. But the difference is when you do the wraparound object shape, it gives you these options here. So obviously, yes, both sides. But then I wanted to contour to the alpha channel, which means it's going to contour to the image that's being cut out. So as you can see, if you zoom closely, you'll see that it's going around the invisible outline that is, for example, his ear. It's literally taking that bump of the ear and pushing the text around it. Make sense? So also, if I say I want to do, instead of wrap to both sides, I want to wrap to just the left side, then it'll just push that text that was caught between his head and the box, it'll push it to the left only. So that's now this image is blank. So now it's just going to be, if we're to move it around, you know, scale it down, move it over like so. As you can see, this is how you can manipulate the image or the text with the image to just contour around it so that it looks clean or smoother when you're trying to edit. So that's how you contour around an image versus a shape. It's the same step, which is one extra step, because you have to then go here and choose the alpha channel. Now, again, this only works on a PNG or a TIFF file, TIFF, TIFF, that has the transparency saved, because it needs that information of pixels not being there to wrap around. Understood?
Yeah.
Any questions?
I wish I knew this when I made my first magazine.
So same thing for this image. This is going to be slightly more difficult because it has more going on. So same thing, right? Alpha channel. Now there's more going on, so you would have to either make the bounding box larger, or, you know, same thing on just the left side. So again, whatever the image is going to contour to the image. Now you see this image looks pixelated, but obviously, you know, it's not. So the difference is you may have to go to view and then turn on your display. So what it does is this program takes up more RAM than Photoshop and Illustrator combined, because it's a program that's used to gather information from all these other programs and sustain it. So if you have a slow machine or slower computer, it may automatically bump you down to the fast display, which is this, which is hard to design it because obviously this is, you know, it just shows you that it's a picture box, right? So under view, you can turn it to high and it'll show the image in its full resolution, versus under view, view typical, it won't print like this, but it's just, this is just a setting to save you on, save your RAM. So if it looks like this and you go to view and it looks normal, you're fine. But images do look pixelated. If we were to take a small image and blow it up, it will eventually look pixelated, yes. So that's the point of the matter is, be conscious of it, but if your computer's running slow, you know you can bump down the preview, because this is really just a preview, right? Make sense? So, any questions? No questions? Y'all good? Hello? Can I hear you? Testing.
Could you tell me how to like move the pages to side by side?
Oh. Yeah, 1 second. Let's bring in document. Number of pages, images, 2 pages. All right, so to do that, so on your pages panel, so pages panel, so go to allow document page to shuffle, and then you can click on the one and then pull it down to see how the bar appears, and it snaps it to there.
I'm sorry, what did you do in the 3-line thing?
The
move
menu
pages?
allow document pages to shuffle. Uncheck that.
Oh, I mean, it was already selected.
Yeah, no, I said yes. So no, I'm saying, so don't check it, make sure it's unchecked.
Oh, okay. Allow selected spread to shuffle. That's what's not.
No,
being
allow
selected.
document. Yeah, allow
Document,
document.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yay, I got it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, can you show the process of adding a PNG again? Like, do you just click and drag it, or?
Yeah, give me 1 second. So, so yeah, so I forgot to go ahead and get images. So, give me 1 second. So again, 2 ways of doing things. If you're not, for example, I have my libraries here. So I have a lot of assets in my library, from photography to graphics. If you don't have anything in your library, you can simply go to File and Place. And what that does is, it, again, same thing, you know, so you can, I have 2 images, so I'm gonna click on this one and click on this one. I'm gonna click on these 3. Press place. So now you can see, y'all see that number 3 on my cursor? Y'all see the 3 on the cursor?
Yeah, I see it.
So that means I have 3 images loaded up onto my cursor. So now when you don't have a, again, placeholder, rectangle frame tool placed, you can still add an image, but you're gonna have to drag it out. So for example, click here, drag out a text, drag out a rectangle frame tool. I want this thing to be this big. Actually, I want this to be this big. I'm gonna drag it out here like so. And then because I have it loaded and I have this rectangle frame tool here, I can simply click on this one and it automatically drops the image in there. Click on this one, drops the image in there. So now, right click on it and go fitting fill frame proportionally. Same thing here, right? Fill frame proportionally. And then I can just maneuver this one up like so. Make sense? So now you're able to then edit, by making sure that things fit in the box.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, I forgot the headline. So obviously, you'd have to make sure you have the title somewhere. But yeah, point is either dragging it from the library or going to file place. Now, placing in PNG, same thing. If these are PNGs, you would just same way you do any other image, file place, or drag from your library.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Does like the content not matter? Like it can be of anything, or is it like something specific that we're focusing on?
Yeah, no. So you're supposed to. So it's about a conspiracy theory. So you're supposed to choose a conspiracy theory and then find an article either for or against it, and that's what you're laying out.
Okay, cool. So are we writing something, or is it just like an article that we're
No,
finding
you're
online?
finding an article that already exists.
Uh,
I mean, you can write something if you want to write something. Sure, go ahead. I'll never say not to, but for the assignment, no. This is a strictly layout assignment, not content creation assignment. Because 9 times out of 10, when you have a client, unless you're doing your own publication, they're going to give you the images, they're going to give you the text, and it's your job to strictly lay it out. Yeah, maybe make a few graphics, make a few charts if they give you some raw data. But generally speaking, they're going to provide you with the body copy and the images. So this assignment is to replicate a real world client that gives you the content. Make sense?
yeah. Would you be posting this recording on Blackboard?
Yeah, this plus the other tutorials that I made for InDesign. But yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns?
Yes. How do I get? I'm sorry. How do I get to the text wrap? I keep asking so much. How do I get to the text wrap options?
So you click on the image or whatever object, whatever. So click on whatever you want to text the wrap around. Yes.
Yeah. So
And then go
I
to
added a
window.
PNG.
Yeah, then go to window and text wrap,
Okay.
and then the contour.
Okay. Hold on.
Professor?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, but I didn't hear your response, but will you be posting the tutorial on Blackboard?
Of course.
All right. Today?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I guess the question is, who hasn't found an article yet? So everybody's found an article? Cool.
I haven't found an article, but I'm looking for it.
What's your topic again?
I'm doing conspiracy theory on aliens,
Which one?
like Area 51.
Ah. Actually, technically, that because remember back in 2020 when they released the black papers admitting that there they actually do have alien spacecraft at Area 51. So this is not really conspiracy anymore. Or what?
I'm
NASA
sorry,
admitted,
what?
huh?
You said they actually have aliens. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, ironically, it was the height of COVID. It's probably why they released it then, because no one was paying attention. But yeah, they released like the black papers that kind of detailed everything they have there, and they admitted to finding alien technology.
I didn't know that. I knew they like showed videos of like unidentified flying objects, but like you couldn't really see what it was.
Yeah,
I can send you the link once I found it again. But yeah, it was an interesting read.
Yeah, I definitely want to read that.
Makes sense. Because as soon as I heard they found water on Mars, it's like, okay, well, there we go. Life does exist outside of Earth.
I don't know if anybody's picked it yet, but I could do maybe like the pyramids, conspiracy theory on the pyramids.
They're built by aliens, or they're built by the Nephilims.
Yeah, something of that nature.
It's a wild, rocky world out there. It's up to you, Tracy. It's not that deep. Do whatever tickles your fancy, as they say. You need help? So what? You need help finding an article? We're trying to find a short article. Street area 51. That's it. So anybody else having issues finding articles? No? Yes?
No, I'm not sure what to pick. I can't find any.
Find any what?
Like, I'm not really sure about any conspiracy theories that I should pick. I can't, I'm not sure what to pick.
And then you can't find any, or you don't know which ones, or you don't, or you see a bunch but don't know which ones to choose.
Yeah,
Which ones are you seeing?
I'm seeing John F. Kennedy's assassination.
I think someone's doing that on it already. What else you seeing?
I feel like all the ones I'm seeing people already chose. So
Why don't you do the God particle?
which one?
The God particle.
Okay, thank you.
One is gonna destroy the earth every time they use the machine.
Are you talking about the colliders, the particle
Mhm.
accelerators? Hmm.
Yeah, they keep on trying to replicate black holes. Like, come on now. Why? Why? You can do cloning. Human clones. We all know those exist. But yeah. So my next question is, has anybody sketched this out yet? And take your silence as no.
Yeah, I have not. I just figured I was just gonna copy and paste the article and put a picture on it. I didn't really put.
My man said, keep it simple. He did.
But so we're doing the spread in on InDesign, right? Like that's the
Yep.
okay. I thought we were doing it on Photoshop at first, so
Oh, no.
cool.
Oh, no. InDesign on there.
Hello, how many pages do we need for the magazine of theories?
Just one. I mean, one spread is 2 pages, so just 2 pages.
Okay.
Ananda, do you see the Ananda, did you see the article I sent?
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. That's crazy.
Shit is crazy. Well, you know.
I mean, but it's believable. So, my mom has friends that work for like in the Pentagon,
Mhm.
and they're not really like, well, one of them, she kind of gives us like scoop, but not really all of it. It's kind of crazy. She can like hack any camera in DC. So, but yeah. So there's some things that really like shock me, but at the same time, I was just like, wow.
Somebody's always watching. Anybody else? Questions, concerns?
So will this be posted like today or like what time?
Mhm. Soon as it finishes rendering. It'll be added to the playlist.
So we don't have to include the whole article, it's just like what we can fit into this page?
No, the whole article.
The whole thing, okay.
That's a part of the design challenge. Because inevitably, a client will give you more content than they can fit. It's your job to figure out.
Do we have to cite, or like the source?
Yeah, just put the byline of the author.
Okay.
Anybody have any other questions about the markups, comic book, or this assignment? Speak now.
Like again, like would that one be posted as well, or
Okay, one more time.
will the comic book one be posted?
What, the assignment?
Just the recording of like, because I wasn't in class that day and I didn't see.
Well,
How to do it.
we didn't do anything with the comic book just yet.
Okay, awesome. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I was wondering about the comic book, like how you would go about making like the page layouts. What like yeah, what would it be? I guess you do that in design. But do you just like I don't know. I was wondering if we're gonna do a tutorial on that?
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Ideally Thursday.
Okay.
I figured it'd be too much to lay on you today.
And what about the text bubbles for the
Same thing.
for the pic?
Same thing, part of the same
Is
tutorial.
that okay? Will that be done in InDesign as well,
Mhm.
though?
Yep.
Or okay.
All InDesign.
Huh.
He said only done in Illustrator is the title, and then editing photos in Photoshop, and then everything else is InDesign. Now we can cover that today if you want to. Y'all tell me. I'm on y'all time. I don't want to slam y'all with too much information at once. So you tell me. Today or Thursday. Class vote.
I don't mind
Thursday's
learning today.
okay.
Yeah, today. All right, cool. Easy breezy. All righty.
Awesome, thank you.
A problem. You know, hey, like I said, y'all tell me. Y'all run the class. I'm just here. All right. So as it relates to InDesign, Layout Magazine, it's really the same exact thing. The only primary difference is. So for example, actually let me make the document actually. So close this. So new document. Now, did everybody read the assignment sheet? No.
For the comic, I mean, for the conspiracy thing,
No, the comic book assignment.
no, not really.
I read it briefly.
Well, you all know you'll have 4 different options to choose from in terms of sizing. Golden
Yeah,
age, silver
yeah.
age, regular. Cool. All right, so generally speaking, they're all roughly the same. They're all 10.5 high. It's just the widths are slightly different. That's all. So for example, the width of this, I'm gonna do 6.25, and then 6.227, and then 10.5 for the height. Now, number of pages. Remember, the number of pages is either 12, or I mean either 8 or 12 or 16 or 20. There's no in between. It has to be a set of 4. So I'm gonna do 12. Number of columns, I'm gonna boost it up to 5. Again, choice is yours. I'm gonna lower my margins. 0.25. Bleeds 0.25. So press create. So now you have the column, right? This is the cover page. So going to the center page here, it's the same thing, right? You have the rectangle frame tools for the images, and obviously it's a comic book, so obviously it's going to be primarily more images. So I'm going to use the base rectangle frame tool, and I'm going to simply edit that one to match what I want. So for them, I'll draw a regular one. And now for the sake of visualization, I'm going to give it a color. I'm going to go with this light blue. I'm going to go with light. I'm going to go with this light yellow. Actually, no, I'm going to go with light red. Indecision is key, right? I'm going to go with red or orange. Yeah, who cares? Orange. Lower the opacity. Cool. Actually, no, lower the tint. Actually, lower the opacity.
Professor, this might be a dumb question, but so the lines that were on the document, do you want the text to be in fit with those lines?
Say it one more time.
Like you want it to be in line with the lines that are on the document, like the 3 things that are vertically drawn.
Or
The document we were just looking at.
for the conspiracy theory, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So for
Is there
example,
like a text requirement, like the size?
the size of the text itself, no, it's up to you, Tracy. That's that falls under your design decision.
Okay, and a minimum of 2 photos?
We're talking about for the comic book assignment? I mean for the conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean it's whatever you can find. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
So for example, say you'll have 5 images, right? Now, most comic books have cells, right? The individual images, cells, places. So this is how you would lay it out. But if you wanted to manipulate it, meaning you don't want it to be boxes or squares, again, just like in Illustrator, you have the white and black arrow tool, and they function exactly the same. If I hit A or click on the direct select tool, I can click on the corner or the point, and I can, manipulate or select multiple, these two, and then I can shift over the cell, right? So this is how you can manipulate the rectangle frame tool to match exactly what you would need in terms of what you want to put for your comic book. Make sense? So this is how you get those custom shapes of the cells. And again, all of this is going to be indicative of what you want or how you want it to look, right? Make sense? So I can't tell you what to do because all of these are going to really depend on what photo goes in it. So for example, you could also have one where it's, one big image, which has been done before. And then it would have, several smaller images inside of it, right? And then the difference is to get the illusion of the bar or the white bumper, you would just add a white stroke to it and then just increase the stroke size to be on the outside, like so. All right, so it's really not that hard to lay it out. Again, majority of this really goes back to what it is or how it is as a designer, as an artist, the choices you want to make in terms of how you want it to look. So, as you say, that's your problem. Now, when it comes to the text box or text word bubbles, like I said, InDesign shares similar tools like Photoshop and Illustrator. So for example, if you would have a word bubble here, and we can make this make it white. Actually, can't we see that on this? And then the rectangle polygon tool, so I can click here, 3 sides to make a triangle. Yes. Eyedropper. And then I could rotate this upside down. So exactly what I would do in Illustrator is no different than in here. I could make it smaller. I could then direct select tool, manipulate this to turn it this way. And then now highlight both of these together. And then again, this path finder. So now it's one shape. So now we have a text box, a word bubble, a thought bubble rather, that has the images. And then you would zoom in, text box, you would just drag out a text box within it. With a type for placeholder text. So, and then you would just hold shift and group these together so that they move together. Like that. Same thing goes if you wanted to do the circular one. Draw out an ellipse tool. Same thing, I'm going to use the polygon tool. Click here, 3 sides. I'm going to sample this to make it black and white. Turn the fill to white. Same thing, rotate this over. Scale it down, stick it here. We're going to elongate it actually. Make it shorter, stick it here. Path finder, drum together. Thought bubble. Or you can do the one where it's, the different where it goes here. And then, smaller bubbles, smaller circles here. Like so. And they get bigger as they go up. And then you would just group these together. So it's pretty straightforward. It all just depends on which one you wanted to, which style you want to go with, right? Hello?
No, I'm yeah, thank you. This is very informative.
Anybody else got any other questions? Y'all want me to show the examples again, or y'all remember from what y'all seen?
Yeah, I'm good. I remember.
All right, cool. So yeah. But this is one of the last steps because we really need to get the photos taken and photos edited, so. Do you think we could have majority of the photos done by Thursday? So in class, we can do the batch together?
Yeah.
Yes.
Class.
Yeah, I can try to have that done.
I'm sorry, what was supposed to be done?
Having the photos taken for the comic book assignment.
The photos taken?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
Because at this point, you should have your your story done or your story figured out at least. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
It can just be like about like anything random, right?
Yep.
Like what,
Do whatever.
okay.
Mhm. It'd be about making a PB and J, you know, it's anything.
You said it has to be around like 50 images, like 4 pages or 5.
Yeah, it's 5 images per page, so yeah.
So for the thing that we were just working on, the conspiracy thing, what if your article is longer than the 2 pages? Can you like just choose what you think is more important to like,
Said it's longer than what is
it's
long?
longer than like it can't fit in the document?
I guess, yeah, sure.
Okay,
You
cool.
cut it out or just keep on going to the next page.
Like add a 3rd page?
Or add a 4th,
Okay.
go to 4 instead of 4 instead of 2. Any other questions, concerns? Talk to me.
Quick question. Does it matter what file format the images are when you use them in InDesign?
Yes.
Can I just upload HEIC photos like from the iPhone or no?
For the comic book assignment, no. So for the comic book assignment, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So well, no. So you're gonna take them in Photoshop and edit them, so there wouldn't be HITC.
Oh,
Yeah. Remember you have to do the filter setting. That's what I'm saying. The batch. So remember you have to remember you're making your own filter in Photoshop.
yeah. I completely forgot about all that. I was just trying to think of a question I could ask, but yeah, that was a dumb question. But okay.
So you got options, man. I wouldn't say dumb. Just you forgot the main part, the photo edit. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean that's all in terms of that. So primarily you'll be using you'll be using a TIFF file, TIFF. But like I said, that's a part of the batch, which we'll be going over on Thursday. Because like I said, that literally is the very last step. So I said, in the meantime, you could definitely be crafting your own. If you haven't finished, or craft your own Photoshop filter, you can do that as you're still taking photos. You don't necessarily need the photos to make the thing, if that makes sense. Any other questions, concerns? So, any other questions, concerns, talk to me. We are here.
I got no questions for now.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? No. So see y'all tomorrow.
Yep.
Thank you, Professor.
All right, see y'all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Professor.
What time are your office hours?
Summertime, so don't we have office hours? If you need me, just message me.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you.
All right, see you.
See you Thursday.
See you there.
Yeah, guys. Bye.
Mhm.